Do you remember that familiar face from your childhood TV nights? The one who made you laugh, cry, and say, "Wait, what will she do next?" That was Susan Tully, and her story is one of those rare journeys that feels both nostalgic and quietly inspiring. So sit back for this. Susan began life in front of the camera and somehow turned that early spotlight into a lifelong creative career that few of us fully noticed as it unfolded. Born in 1967 in London, she started acting as a child and quickly became a name that families knew. First, she showed up in Grange Hill as Susan Ross, a part that made her feel like someone you could bump into at the school gates, imperfect, real, and deeply relatable. And then she stepped into the role that cemented her as a national fixture, Michelle Fowler on EastEnders, a character whose ups and downs were discussed at kitchen tables across the UK and who became part of many viewers' daily lives. What made Susan special was not just that she acted well, it was that she connected. She brought an authenticity to quiet scenes and big moments alike, turning television into something like community theater, where families argued about plot lines and children imitated lines at school. But here's the twist. Unlike many child stars who either disappear or cling to the spotlight, Susan quietly reinvented herself behind the camera. She didn't vanish so much as change roles, from being the person everyone watched to being the person who helps shape what everyone watches, and that required courage. Moving into directing, she learned a new craft, translated on-set experience into leadership, and eventually directed episodes of the very shows that made her famous, including EastEnders, which is a neat loop. The kid who inspired viewers' emotions now guides how those emotions are filmed and presented. That shift from actor to director is the heart of her story because it shows growth. She didn't need the glamorous headline to stay creative. She found a different way to influence storytelling, often with a quiet professionalism that's easy to miss if you're only skimming credits. Today, Susan isn't flashing on magazine covers, but she's still in the business of creating moments that make people care, and that's a kind of success that lasts. Her life teaches a few simple yet powerful lessons. First, early fame doesn't have to define your future paths. Second, talent can be remade into new forms of craft. And third, staying humble and focused often leads to longevity. She's proof that you can grow up in the public eye and still build a private expertise that shapes culture from behind the camera. Think about it. She went from being the face of stories to being the hand that tells them, and that transition is rare and admirable. Longtime fans often feel a warm jolt when they learn what she's been doing, because there's a comfort in seeing someone you once watched grow into a mature artist whose choices are about story and skill rather than publicity. Off-screen, Susan kept a low profile, choosing to prioritize her craft and her creative contributions rather than courting attention, and that choice earned her respect among peers even if it didn't always make tabloid headlines. So if you catch her name in the credits these days, know this. The same instincts that made Michelle Fowler feel like a neighbor now shape scenes and performances from the director's chair, and that continuity, from child actor to thoughtful director, is what makes her journey both surprising and deeply satisfying. In a world that often confuses visibility with value, Susan Tully reminds us that real influence can be quiet, steady, and profoundly creative. She kept working, kept learning, and turned early fame into a durable, honorable career that continues to impact what we watch, often without us even realizing it. If that little wave of memory made you smile, consider this your invitation to rewatch an episode, check the credits next time, or simply appreciate the rare people in television who trade the glare of the spotlight for the craft of making stories that matter. Thanks for watching.